Hello, I'm Ricky Sayer. This is Jake Diamond Rivich,
Hey, guys.
and you're watching the first ever Harriton High School Student Council presidential debate. The candidates are Ben Barnett, Lorenzo Solon, and Hunter Sporn. Let's jump right in because we have an extremely limited amount of time. Our first question goes to Ben. Tell us about, you made a big point in your campaign about why experience matters. Talk about why that's so important to you.
Well, I think experience is the most important factor to any election. I've been your sergeant at arms for 1 year. I've gotten a lot of things done. And most importantly, I've worked with Willie Marks this entire year. I've shadowed him pretty much the entire year. Learned how to be the president, learned how to do a good job because Willie is an exceptional president. And I feel like if I am lucky enough to get your vote on Monday, that I would be able to do everything that Willie has done and more to exceed his expectations.
Okay, thank you. Lorenzo, this is your first year in council, correct?
Yes.
Talk to us about why you decided to join council and what experience you got in being in council.
So initially, actually, my freshman and sophomore year, I didn't know how to get into council. I didn't really understand what the process was. And last year, my friends, especially Ben and Noah, they were running for officers, and I realized that you can make a huge difference in student council. Student council does have a voice. And as for me being not in council, I think it's given me a new perspective, a new new ideas that I can give to the council.
Okay, Hunter, you've been in council for 3 years. Talk about the experience you've gotten being in council and how that could help you as president.
Absolutely. Well, I'd like to start off by saying it's an honor and privilege to be here today. I always welcome an opportunity to share my ideas with the people and meet with the other candidates. But what I would say regarding my experience is, yes, it is true. I'm the only candidate who has been in the council for 3 years in a row. And I've spent those 3 years fighting for you, making changes, fundraising. I've been the biggest fundraiser for the council, raising $1,400 alone. I was Jake Diamond Rivich's co-chair of finance this year. We shattered fundraising records, and it's been an incredible honor, and I have great ideas that I'd like to work towards with my peers and with the other candidates. Absolutely, Rick.
Does anyone want to talk about some other things that they've done in council in specifics?
I could take that one. So what I would say is, as freshman year, I was already called a superstar by the administration, the student council administration. And that is largely due to the fact that I took the initiative to fundraise. I went door to door raising $1,400 for you, the people, and that's money that's been going back to school clubs, sports, events, and I'd like to continue, shattering fundraising records with my peers, and we will do that. And not only will we do that, but the money will be given back to you. You guys will have a say in how it's used, and it's just been an incredible honor to be fundraising like this and working so intricately with the student council officers this year, last year, and the year before.
Thank you. Ben?
I'll take it away. Yeah, Hunter, $1,400, that's amazing, and I'd like to commend you for that. Take my hat off to you. I'd also like to just put in there that I also raised $200 over ad day with my crew. We walked around and got ads. And also organized every pep rally, every spirit week. Working on the Wing Bowl right now, which is a big event that I'm excited to bring on the 25th of April. Also organized the playbill for Mr. Harriton, which was where we organized all the ads and put them into a playbill, which you got at Mr. Harriton. So my experience amounts up, and that's the most important part about my campaign. Thank you.
I'll take the last part. So as you know, this is my first year of student council. So my experience goes directly through Mr. Harriton, and during Mr. Harriton, I ran the concessions, I ran the raffle baskets, and I ran the silent auctions. And I believe that all those events went very successfully. We raised a lot of money through there, and I believe that has given me a little bit of experience that will allow me to bring into student council next year.
May I respond? Yeah, thank you.
Please be brief.
I will be brief. Thank you, Rick. So I absolutely recognize Ben's record. It's been fantastic. I've worked very closely with him. But I would also say that my record stands for itself, in that I have always been top fundraiser for the council, always been devoted to making this school better. I also have great ideas. I know many of you have expressed hope that maybe school can start later, so one of these years. And I will tell you, I've worked with the administration. They say it can happen. We're going to have votes on school-wide issues, and I'm going to hear your voices because I feel your pain and I hear your cries.
Thank you.
And we're going to make Harriton great again.
So, a lot of what you guys touched on is like personal achievements you've made in council. But then as you become a leader of council, it's about what you can do personally, but how you can inspire others.
Absolutely.
So how you can lead others so to have the achievements at the same level or to make these achievements in a better way. So if you talk about either as a leader in council or as a member of council, ways you've helped other people in council excel.
Absolutely. Can I take that one?
Yeah.
Hi. Yes. So, what I would say is anyone who's really gotten the opportunity to know me knows that I'm a team leader, and I'm a man for the people and by the people. I've worked with all these guys before, they're great friends of mine, and as a president, I will work with you and with the student council to make sure that everything goes successfully. I've worked with Jake Diamond-Rivich, the guy's the co-chair of the finance committee, and I led teams, fundraising drives, and that was largely, that was a large reason why we did shatter the fundraising records this year. Almost $20,000, and much of that money is going back to you, Harriton. I look forward to working with everybody. I've been a team leader in many clubs, sports. It's been an incredible honor, and it would just be an incredible privilege to serve as your student council president and really work with everybody, every single person, to make the school better.
I'd like to take it away from you. Yeah, I want to touch on your point of communication, because I think the student government has a real voice in the school community. But I also want to emphasize the point that the student body needs a better voice in the school community. So I'm proposing a monthly email that would be sent out where we would hear your ideas, the student body's ideas. We would take them under consideration and we would make as many of them happen as humanly possible. And I would also provide a synopsis of what student council has accomplished in the past month. And I think your voice matters in the student government, and we want to hear that more in the upcoming years.
I'd like to take that point also. So I was a member of the Student Council Rights Committee this year, and we did send out polls and emails to the students. But I don't believe that that's the best way to listen to the students. So next year, if I'm elected, I plan to hold certain town hall meetings that are run by student council so that we can discuss certain issues within our school. Such as, what would happen during these town hall meetings, there would be a certain topic, like Hunter brought up the school start times.
Absolutely.
And throughout these meetings, the people of the Harriton student body would be able to discuss face to face and really talk out the problems. Because the only way to solve problems is to be able to talk them through so ideas can start flowing actually.
May I respond?
I would like to respond.
And then I'll take it.
Yeah, so I'd also like to respond to this. I want to make it clear to the student body that I think we need to bring more awareness to the fact that the student council meetings are actually already open to the public. Anybody can come, anybody can voice their opinions, but I think the thing that we need to improve on is getting the voice out that people can come and people can be heard. And I think the town hall meetings are a great idea, but I think it's already in place, but it's subtly mentioned in the bylaws that anybody can come. Many people don't know this, and as president, I would fight to bring this awareness to the student body. Thank you.
Absolutely, may I take it from here? Okay. So like Ben said, I completely agree with what he said. I took the words right out of my mouth. So student council meetings, many of you may not realize, are actually open to the public. But like what he said, we do need to raise awareness that you guys have an opportunity to have a say in student council affairs and the affairs of the school. And if you have an idea or you have something that you'd like to express, you absolutely have the right to do so, and I would argue maybe even the responsibility to do so as a student here. Other than that, what I would say is, great idea, Ben, reaching out to the students, giving them the voice and with ideas. But what I would say is I've already taken a head start on that. You can look on Facebook groups. I've created a survey. So you guys can express your ideas, what you would like to change at Harriton, and I will listen to you. Every year you hear a lot of promises. Let's be honest, most of these promises do not come true. But I'm a doer. I'm not a follower. I'm a leader, and you can count on me to fight for you till the last day I'm here.
I would like to make one last point. Hunter, I've seen your polls. I think they're great, and I've also been polling. You can follow me at Barnett for Prez on Twitter, and you can vote in our polls. And you can also hear more about my platforms and information that I'm giving off on social media.
Okay.
Sporn for Prez too. Yeah, Snapchat. Thank you.
You can also catch me on Instagram.
We're going to get into polls and things like that later, but we'll just get into it, talk about it now. What matters more? What you think, what you as a student here and as a possible president thinks about an issue, or what the student body and what polls think about, what they think about the issues?
Can I take that one first?
Uh,
I think Lorenzo is
Yeah,
first.
I think Lorenzo was
That's, I
first.
agree. Lorenzo.
So I believe that it is the student body's decision. That is the most important voice in our school. Our role, if any of us is elected to be president, is to actually bring those ideas to the administration. So the administration knows the pleas and the problems of the student body.
Yeah, I agree.
May I respond?
Yeah.
Lorenzo, absolutely correct. Completely agree. That's something I would be looking forward to doing as your student body president. I would take these ideas that I hear. I've already gone around the school campaigning. I know what you guys feel, how you think things should be changed, and I will be your voice in the student council. Now, in terms of the question, I think that the ultimate responsibility of the president of the student council is not only to represent himself and the student council, but the entire student body. And that means each and every one of you, no matter how different you may be than the rest of everybody else. And that means that I will be your voice in the student council. And I've already had a head start there as well. I've met with the administration. I'm very serious about my ideas. Many of you have expressed concern that perhaps school can't start later. Well, what I would say is I've already met with the administration. They say that it can happen if you, the people, express your support for the idea. And I'm the only candidate up here right now that's expressing firm support for a later school start time. It will happen, Harriton. If you elect me, I will be your voice in the student council, and I'll do my very best to make sure it happens.
Right, Ben?
Yeah, I just want to take it away from 1 second. I'd like to emphasize the fact that through my term as Sergeant at Arms, I've grown some serious relationships with the administration. And through those relationships, I feel like I have a very good idea of how to get things done. Secondly, polls on the internet are great, but I would like to make sure that you guys understand that I'm the only candidate that actually went around the lunchroom a couple days ago and asked for your voice on our suggestion board. And I will fight for each of those suggestions that you guys mentioned on that board. And I hope that you realize that if I'm elected president, I will come to you directly and not over social media. I will come right to you and ask for your opinions. Thank you.
That,
Can I respond to that?
Well, actually, I want to.
Yeah, let's give it 20 seconds.
Okay, 20
One
seconds.
second. Hello again. A suggestion board is absolutely a great idea, but what I would say is that actually I have been going around the school. I've been talking to so many of you from freshman, sophomore, junior grades, different backgrounds, and that's really one of the best aspects of Harriton. And what I've heard, I don't need the suggestion board to have these ideas on paper. I've heard your ideas. I've taken them into consideration, and I will be fighting for them. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good point, Hunter.
What Ben just said actually might lead to something I'm going to ask you, Lorenzo. You said that in your Facebook post that communication can't happen behind computer screens.
Exactly.
Why is that?
Because the most important aspect is that when you talk out to each other, it's easier for the ideas to flow. Like right now we're in a debate. That way it's more spontaneous, and that's where ideas come from, is spontaneous.
All right, sorry. So that may be true, but obviously the perk of computer communication is the accessibility of it. So if you're gonna have these town hall meetings, how are you gonna get a lot of people to come to these meetings?
So I think that it's going to happen during Lunch and Learn, and probably in the LGI. And what we do is we probably announce it over the morning announcements, and I think the catch would be the topic. So we talked about the school start times. I know a lot of people in this school have ideas about school start times, either starting taking off time for activities, or maybe even shortening classes. I've heard people say shortening classes, but I think we announce it over, even on the RAM report, we do it over the morning announcements and the RAM report and advertise that.
That
Those
actually.
are great ideas, man.
That's a good segue into a question I'm going to ask.
I think that's also one
But,
second. I think that's also a great
20
idea.
seconds.
But I also think a great way to get that out would be if, given it isn't during Lunch and Learn, maybe you could have these meetings, Learn 2, and Mr. Ferguson could announce it Learn 1 in the lunchroom. You could just everybody's in the lunchroom Learn 1. Well, most people. So I think that would be a great way to get communication out.
Ben, you told me in an interview that, regarding school start times, that you said that overall, I think that most of the student body wouldn't want a later school start time, but I do have a solution for later school start time. Talk about why you believe that they don't want later school start time.
I would love to. Great question.
And what your plan would be.
Okay, well, I believe that students mostly don't want a later school start time because in the student right committee, Willie Marks pulled for this. He pulled, would you like a later school start time? And overall, the consensus came back, no, we wouldn't like a later school start time. And I think that Well, you've said multiple times that the Federation of Health or whatever says that
The American Academy of Pediatrics.
that says that 8 o'clock is the
8:30.
8:30 is the earliest kids should be able to be in school, right?
True.
True. So I think that has a serious point there. But I also would like to say that this wouldn't be a single year process. This wouldn't be a 2-year process. This would be a multi-year process going through administration, going through different schools in our school system. And if the student body wants that, I would be completely for pushing for it. I would love, your voice is heard through my ears, and I would like to fight for anything you guys want. That being said, I feel that the process might outweigh the positives.
Before we further can respond, I just do want to say that I think I know the poll that you're talking about. That poll was not regarding overall school start times to be later. That was regarding midterms only.
I believe it was also regarding school start times. But we'll double check.
Can I
We'll
try to speak?
check on that later.
Yes, I'd like to interject if you don't mind. I actually do have one question, and then I'll segue into some more of my ideas and what I'd like to talk about. Ben, I just do have a question. Do you know what the sample size for that poll was?
The sample size for that poll, I believe he polled the entire student council.
The entire student council. Well, what I will say is I do check my emails, and I didn't get that email. So I'm not aware of that. But what I will say is going around the school, I have heard that many of you are really tired of waking up early, really, really tired of waking up in pitch black. And what I will say is so many schools around this country and around this state start later. And it absolutely is a feasible idea, even within the next year or two. I've met with the administration. The board is currently considering it. But their concerns are that perhaps the students aren't really in favor of this. So if you really are in favor of it, then I would ask you very politely to please vote for the candidate that is fighting for it. I am fighting for a later school start time because I know so many of you want it, and on a personal level, I'm tired of waking up early. I'm tired right now. I got 4 hours of sleep last night. It's unacceptable, and I will work to make school start later. Thank you.
Question. Why did you get 4 hours of sleep last night?
Well, I think many Harriton students can relate to my experiences in that we do have too much homework. We
Okay.
have a lot of
That's
responsibilities and
follow-up
duties, right?
Follow-up question. We get home from school later, okay?
Yeah.
We get that extra hour of sleep in the morning.
Mhm.
So wouldn't that push your getting to bed later by 1 hour? And even if it would take an hour away from the morning, I think you would still be getting to sleep later, given the amount of homework that you have.
These are absolutely valid points, but what I would say is in that study that Ricky cited by the American Academy of Pediatrics, I think many of you realize that it's very difficult to fall asleep before certain times. So it would make it a lot easier, it would make your lives a lot more efficient if we can make school start later. You guys would still have plenty of time for homework and sports, and we'd work it out. We'd work with the administration, we'd hear your ideas. I would have you guys vote on the issues online and polls, and I'd make sure that whatever happens, it's something that all of you support. But there are ways to implement this idea in response to that, Ben, that are very favorable, and I think many of the students would agree with.
Let's touch on that. So obviously there's a disagreement, should school be pushed back or not? I think the way to solve that is send a poll to the whole school, see what they say. Let's go with the majority.
Great.
Let's say the majority says we want school to start time to push back. This is something that the administration has been pretty tough on for the last 3 years. You talk about fighting for the school. What specifically do you think are the steps to get something like that done? We have to go through administration.
Well, as president of the student council, one of the duties assigned, I'm sure my fellow candidates know, is that they're responsible for meeting with the administration and listening to your ideas, Harriton, and making sure that they're implemented. Well, this is certainly an idea I've heard over and over again, and Jake, in response to that question, I would be meeting with the administration. I would express frustration if they're not willing to listen to the student voices at all. And I've had experience negotiating. I've met with the superintendent on various occasions. I met with the school administration. And I know these people, and I know what it takes to make something like this happen. I recognize that it's a hard idea. It's not an easy idea to implement. But what I can tell you is I will work to the very last day as your president to make sure that if you guys want it to happen, it happens.
So you talked about the process, a multi-year process. I completely agree with that. And I talked before about how communication needs to be between the students and the administration. I also believe it has to go both ways. Whatever the administration is doing, we, the students, need to know what's going on so we can express our opinions. And as president, that's also our job. So since we meet all the administrations and superintendents, what happens there needs to be given towards the students so they can have their own opinions to be formed.
How do you communicate that to the students?
As I said before, with the town hall meetings, we would address that and say, what do you think about these ideas? And do you agree with them or disagree with them? And also with the town hall, we'd also poll them with what the administration has planned.
Ben, what do you think the best plan to confront administration, try to get something done?
I think the first thing that you would have to do is go to Dr. Eberslag in the summer and talk about school start times to push them back. Then you have to go through the administration, eventually make it up to the superintendent. And if the superintendent is for it, then you have to go through the other schools in our school district because it would ultimately affect sports games, after-school sports games, after-school practices. So you have to get them all on the same page, and that would be a humongous, a large undertaking. But I think if the student body wants it, I'll fight to make it happen.
Something
Can I respond?
in
Or wanna go on?
Yeah, 20 seconds.
Okay. Absolutely a huge undertaking, but what I would say is no challenge is big enough for me and for my peers. We will make it happen if you want it to happen. Bottom line. I will meet with the administration as I've done in the past. If you guys want a later school start time, it's going to happen. I will do my very best, that's all I can promise, to be honest. But listen, I've met with the administration and I think they're not completely against it. I think there really is real potential
I have a question.
next year or the year after.
I have a question. Have you gone to other school districts and asked about how many years the process takes?
No, but what I would say is many school districts already recognize that it's not healthy and it's not good for the students to start so late. And I can tell you schools around the state, around this region, around this Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, already start late. They already recognize that it's unhealthy, it's not even safe for students to be starting at 7:30 in the morning. So
22nd point.
we can make it happen, it's happened elsewhere, and it's, this is a national movement to make it happen. We're gonna make it happen, it's a revolution, it's gonna happen in Harriton.
I have one quick thing to say. What's safer, our safety or our little sisters and our little brother's safety? If we pushed our school start time back, that would mean the elementary school's start time would be sooner. And if the elementary school start times are being sooner, that would mean your baby sister, your baby brother will be walking home from school in the dark. And bad things happen in the dark, and you don't want your baby sister or your baby brother getting snatched up. So my point being is the safety. I think we, as elders, would have a better chance of not being taken, and I think that's a serious thing that you need to take under consideration. Like, you can't just take that out of account.
So wait,
Well-
you said that,
Okay,
Also,
Lorenzo can
Lorenzo,
respond.
when you-
Yeah, let's let Lorenzo respond.
so you said that when we push school start times back, we'd also push the elementary and middle schools further back also?
Before.
Oh,
It would be
before.
before.
So you said they'd be walking home in the dark?
No, they
Or-
would be pushed back, and then they would be walking home in the dark.
I was under the impression that if we pushed our school start times forward, we could make the elementary schools earlier. Because I think that's the best way to go about it. We start at, 8 or 9, and then we push the elementary schools to what we have right now.
That is what the current.
What I
That
would
is
say.
What is your actual stance? Do you want school start?
I do believe school start times can be pushed back, and we can put the elementary schools earlier. But my biggest concern is the after-school sports and activities. Because I'm going to go to you, Ben. You advocated for we take 30 minutes off sports. And I don't know if I agree with that because I personally play baseball and I've been part of many activities, and I know that teens need that extra time to get their work in.
We only have.
Can I just quickly
Okay, so
respond
how
to
would
that?
you-
I'd like to
what
just
would
quickly
you-
respond.
what would you-
We, where are we at? Okay.
Can I just
We do
respond?
have to end this.
20 seconds,
Very
20
short.
seconds for Ben, next section.
Okay, so what I would say, Harriton, is yes, no consideration has been left behind in my proposals. That is a concern. It is a concern that kids might be going home later, but generally speaking, it will not be in the dark. I think parents already aren't letting little babies walk home in the dark. I just don't think that happens. I can relate to that experience myself. I have a younger sister, and I'm sure many of you guys do. And I just think we can work this out. It's going to happen. It's happened elsewhere.
Okay, thank
And
you.
the board's, board has a way of.
Thank you.
Okay, final point.
I would like
20
to clarify
seconds.
my point. I think I meant to say that our school start time would be pushed back later. Younger kids would be pushed back earlier.
Earlier, yeah.
Yeah. So I take back my statement. I apologize, but I was basically saying that most parents work, and the younger child will be getting there before the older child. And now in the system that we have, the older brother or sister is able to watch after their younger brother or sister. So I take back my first statement, and the second, what I'm actually trying to say is that
Alright.
they would be
Okay.
unsupervised.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In order to be effective, it takes putting time into council, especially for president. Ben Barnett, you have said that you quit the JV basketball team because you became sergeant at arms, correct?
Yes, I made a sacrifice.
Yes. Lorenzo, you're a big member of the baseball team. What sacrifices would you make if you become president?
Well, I believe that the biggest sacrifice as president to be made is during the winter, during Mr. Harriton, because as I shadowed Willie through that long process, I had to sacrifice the time I practiced, the amount of practices I attended. I missed certain practices, which isn't good, but baseball is mostly in the spring, and at that time, the most important thing going on is the elections. So I don't believe that baseball will interfere with my student council.
Hunter, you're not as big of a sports person, but you're a big,
Well, I'm a
you're a big
nice
part of the club
team.
team.
Shout out
In
there.
fact, you're not actually going to be at the speeches this Monday because you're going to be at FBLA. Can you talk about what sacrifices you would make?
Absolutely, Rick. Well, I'd like to first address the fact that I'm not going to be at the student council speeches. I tried my best to be there. I worked with the administration. Unfortunately, I had prior committed to FBLA, and they're not letting me out. I'm kind of on the hook here. But what I will say is, if elected your student council president, you can count on me to step in day one. I will make the sacrifices needed. Student council is a priority because I'm very involved in the school. I'm involved in many clubs, many organizations. But these are smaller organizations, and I think we all have to understand that the presidency of the student council, you're representing 1,200 people in the school. You're representing each and every student. So, from day one, I will make sacrifices, as I have in the past. I will prioritize the student council. It will be my number one priority, and all of you will be my number one priority as president of the student council.
Ben, we're continuing to talk about effectiveness. Last year, when you ran for Sergeant at Arms, you said that you had ideas of linking the breakfast table into your school account, so you would just punch in numbers, and a ticket stub idea regarding going to games and stuff. What happened to those ideas?
Yeah, so the first idea was the account number at the breakfast table, and that actually came into the hut being there, coincidentally, and that actually solved that problem. And then the second idea that I also had was the RAM, which was automatic RAM signups, and that also got replaced by Lunch and Learn, which I was a strong supporter of over the summer. Meeting with Dr. Ebeslog, I thought it was a great idea, and I think it's really worked out in the sense that students are getting more time to themselves, and they're also getting more time gaining a better responsibility and for themselves and their work. And I think that I can further improve on those ideas and make this school a better place.
Okay, we have about 2 minutes left, so we're gonna end on some kind of closing statements, and we want to, in those closing statements, we also want to hear if you guys say if student council can affect change, because a lot of people say like student council, they don't do anything. Talk about that in your closing statements.
40 seconds each.
So, can I go?
Yeah.
So when I first announced to people I was running for president, the majority of the people said, "Oh, student council, you can't do anything." But really, the power to create change doesn't come from us. It comes from the student body, and that comes from the president being able to relate to everybody, to relate to all the different groups of people within this school, because everyone has certain ideas, different ideas that can contribute to making the school a better place.
Good.
Yeah, I think the Harriton Student Council extremely can make some big changes. And I think that the most important one is Mr. Harriton, the Mr. Harriton event sponsored by the student government. You know, we raised $20,000 this year, and that's all going to affect cancer research, and that's going to help many people's lives. Jake Domirovich also wanted to get the toilet paper in, and he has talked to me, and that has been a multi-year process, and I plan on, if lucky enough to be your next student council president, he will hand me the torch, and I will continue with the toilet paper trend. But you know, I think we can actually get things done, and I think with your help, we can make things happen here.
Okay, thank you, Hunter. We have 40 seconds left.
In terms of toilet paper, absolutely. I'm pro toilet paper. That's my platform. What I would say, Harriton, is listen, the choice is yours. Many of you may not know me, many of you may know me, but on Monday you have the opportunity to change the administration, to change the way things are done here, to change the student council. And I'm asking you to listen to me, listen to my platform, and understand that I've been fighting for you all 3 years. I'm the only candidate that's been in the council all 3 years. I joined not to run for office, but because I care about each and every one of you, and I care about each and every one of your ideas. What I will say is from day one, you can count on me to listen to your voice. To listen to your voice and use that voice to make change, positive change here at Harriton. I'm looking forward to increasing spirit. I'm looking forward to hearing your ideas. Maybe later school start time, we can talk about that.
Thank
We'll
you.
have school votes on issues. Thank you very much.
Summarize your campaign in 1 sentence. We have 45 seconds left.
Ben Barnett, most experienced, real attainable ideas, and a love for our school. Vote Barnett.
Lorenzo.
Monday.
Lorenzo Solon, willing to listen to your ideas and is able to relate to everybody in the school.
Hunter.
Hunter Sporn, make Harriton great again.
Okay.
Oh, and also, great judgment, not just experience.
Okay, thank you very much for watching the first ever HHSTV Harriton High School Student Council presidential debate. I'm Ricky Sayer along with Jake Diamond-Rivage. We're here to thank you for watching the debate the theme was experience, policy, effectiveness. Thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day today and have an even better day tomorrow.
Thanks, Harriton.
Thank you.
Thank you, Harriton.
Thank
I
you,
approve this
Harriton.
message.